Hey, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? We're gonna get started in a little bit. Wait for a few more people to join. Happy Sunday, everybody. All right, you guys, we're gonna probably get started at about 2:05 in about a couple more minutes. Hey, Tapilo. I hope I said your name wrong. Good evening. How you doing? All right, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna go ahead and jump into it. So before we start, how we always do, we're gonna go ahead and pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this day. We want to thank you for life, health, and strength. Lord, we pray that everybody is having a great day. We pray that this resource could be utilized to help someone financially. I pray that anything that's said on this channel today, Lord, it can bless somebody to learn something, to learn a life skill that can possibly increase their financial status. And Lord, we ask these things in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and jump into it. We're coming out of a pretty good week. Last week was the first Friday of the month, so we're coming out of NFP. So for those who don't know, NFP stands for non-farm payroll. So that happens the first Friday of every month. And usually when it happens, the market is extremely volatile. Like, it moves insanely crazy. So we can actually take a look at that. If we go back to the first and just kind of look at that. So this USD news and things like that happened on the first, it usually is extremely crazy. However, this past NFP, this past Friday, it actually wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. But like I said, every first Friday is NFP, non-farm payroll employment change. And when that happens, the markets usually are extremely volatile. All right. So let's kind of look at what's going to happen possibly for this week. We usually start off with Forex Factory. So as we can see, for me, I don't usually take any trades on Sundays. I usually kind of let the market settle from the weekend and things like that. So on Monday, tomorrow, during the London session, it looks like we got some GBP news that possibly have some impacts. As head of the central bank, which controls Short-term interest rates, sees influence. Okay, so we just need to make sure that we're mindful of that. On Monday, GBP pairs during the London session. 9:30, we got an orange folder on CAD. And then going into the night, we got the Australian dollar that's gonna spark a few fireworks during the Asian session. Okay, that's something that we might want to look at. Going into Tuesday, it looks like we got some news at 9 a.m. Central Time in the morning. ISM service PMI. So we might got a few fireworks at that particular time. Look like at 10:05 we got some USD FOMC member Bernard speaks. Okay. Wednesday. Okay. So this one here, I'm probably definitely gonna be looking for. Like I said before, usually whenever you have FOMC in the middle of the day, you usually have some huge move or some huge push. So I'll definitely be looking at this for Wednesday. I'll probably make a note of that. FOMC 1 p.m. Central Time. All right, for any pairs that you're trading for USD. Thursday looks like we have a few orange folders, 7:30 and 8 o'clock. And then to end the week, it looked like CAD will probably end with some fireworks. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the charts, y'all. Let's go ahead and jump into it. And also, by the way, if you guys have any charts or anything that you would like for me to mark up or anything, or you want to talk about, please put them in the chat. I'll actually type that in as well. Alright y'all, let's jump into it. So we're gonna probably start off with GBP USD. Let's go ahead and go to the weekly, kind of see what we're looking at, kind of see the big picture of this pair. So as we can see, we're still in a bearish market. As you can see, we can actually do a trend from these points here, but as you can see, we have down momentum. We got high, lower high, lower low. I'm sorry, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and lower low. So we're possibly looking for the market to probably give us another lower high. So basically, if we kind of look at what the market is doing now on the weekly, we can see that we had an exhaustion candle here, this doji. However, this body, it didn't give us too much bearish momentum past this wick, but actually it did. It actually did close, so that's something to notate. So as we drop down to the daily, we can see price is possibly giving us some of the same momentum on the daily time frame. But let's see what we have, a few confluences that we have though. So we can look at this area here. We have an order block right here, which will give us a level of demand. I'm sorry, a level of supply, actually. And so with this, we also have, this was our move that kind of gave us a continuation, because this order block is a bearish, bearish move here. This move up here was the move that actually initiated the drop. So this is a supply zone here as well that we might want to notate. From here we can see we got a retest. It didn't quite all the way come up, but we can tell that we still have a little bit of imbalance or an inefficiency in the market right here. So price possibly wants to come up to tap this area, and we'll see. We'll kind of see what the market is wants to give us. If we drop down to the 4 hour, Now let's kind of look at this thing strategically. So on the 4-hour time frame, we can see we were in down structure. High, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low. And then right here, we actually have a break of structure in this area right here. We got a break of structure on the 4-hour. Okay. Then from there, when we have a break of structure, of course we know that price needs to retest. So from there, we can go ahead and use our Fibonacci tool, throw it on here, and we can actually see that price is actually within our golden zone, the area that we like to be in. So from there, let's check this out. Let's see what confluences that we have. Okay, we got break of structure here. Let's see. Let's drop it down to the 3-hour to kind of see if we have any significant order blocks or anything that price can possibly push off of. Let's see, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Let's drop down to the 1-hour. So over here on the 1-hour, I do see this level of demand here in this area here, this order block, which we can actually remove our fibs because we're already 50%, more than 50% within our Fibonacci. So from here, we can see that prices come down and test this level of demand, and we're possibly getting a rise back up. So if we look at this, we see we have another level of demand here that kind of pushed price up from this area here, which actually gave us a higher low, because you can see that this came here and this point here is a little higher than this this area here. So let's look at this. Let's see something for a second. Let's drop down to the 15-minute. So we can see on the 15-minute, if we were in bearish momentum here, we got a break of structure in this area here. On the 15-minute, price is possibly coming back to retest because we know price wants to go up now, and possibly, like I said on that weekly, it possibly want to give us, you know, that lower high. So as you can see, we're down in this area, but price probably want to come down a little bit more because I could see imbalances right up in this area here that have not been filled. Let's go ahead and move this over. Bring this down a little bit. At the below, I do see you, NAS 100. We'll look at that one. Let's go ahead and remove this. Go ahead and notate this imbalance right here. So this can possibly be a point of interest for us, you guys. Let's drop it down. Hold on, let's go back to the hourly for a second. I want to see something. Okay. All right. Yeah, this can possibly be a point of interest for price to come back down and tap this before it shoots back up. So if we look at that, if we were to take a long or something on this area here, and we put price action on here, that'd be about 20 pips or so, but I will probably be safer to doing it in this area here. But I will probably want to wait for this just to kind of see what the market does when it opens. Let's look at the 5-minute to see if we have any confluences on the 5-minute in this area as well. I see something though. As you guys can see, we have a bullish engulfing order block right here. So for me, this is a nice POI in this area here. The reason why I said it is because if any of you guys saw my order block strategy for the 50% order block strategy, we can utilize this small candle here, the smaller candle on this order block. And basically what we can do, we can utilize that for a possible entry. So what I've done, I've used the GAN box and notated 50%. Let me make this a little bigger. I've used the GAN box to notate 50% of this candle's body from the top of the body to the bottom of the body. And then basically what I did was I put a horizontal ray on here, because this is the point of interest that I'll be looking for price to possibly come back and tap before it goes to the upside. So if we look at that, we can possibly take an entry right on this area here, and we can actually do our stop loss up under this order block right here. We'll drag this over in this area right here, and we'll notate this as our stop loss. And so if you guys look at that, that's literally a 4 pip stop loss. And so if we go to a higher time frame now, because I can definitely live with that risk to reward there. So now we can literally possibly ride this all the way up to this price action here, or even to this bank level, this mid level of 1.31500, or if we would like, we can possibly ride it up to this price action here, which is about 106 pips. So for me, I actually like this area here, and so I actually want my TP to be at 600. And so this is a possible buy limit that I might look to enter on. So I actually might set a buy limit for this, you guys. And this is for GU. And if you look at this, the risk to reward, this is a 1 to 22 risk reward. So for me, that's huge. So one of the things that I want to do, I'll probably move this imbalance over. I do want to set an alert right above this imbalance, because I don't know if that will be the point that will be respected as well. Let's see, GU approaching POI imbalance. I'll set that alert there. And I'll also give you guys these parameters as well. That way you can actually have them for yourself if you want to kind of look at this. And then I'll also do an alert right down in this area here. That way I can understand if price gets down here and it gets close to my entry, I'll know. GU approaching buy limit entry. So if you guys want to possibly look at this, the parameters that I have here, these are the parameters that I have. So my entry will be around 1.30557, and my TP is 1.31600. Stop loss is at 1.3511. Okay. So with this is a possible entry that I'll possibly be looking at. Like I said, this is a 4 pip stop loss, and I'm shooting for possibly about 106 pips or so. It's a 1 to 22 risk reward. So for me, I like those odds. If I'm wrong and I lose 4 pips, I can live with that. So I'll notate that like that. So that's what I'm looking at for GU, you guys. If it does come down here and hit this area here, I'll possibly look and wait for a break. If it decides to jump back up and give me a break of structure from this imbalance, then I'll kind of look at that and kind of do a judgment call from there. All right. So that's what I have for GU. Let's go ahead and look at EU. Okay. Let's go to the weekly. All right. As you guys can see on the weekly time frame, we're looking almost like GU, where we're in a bearish market. We can actually go ahead and throw our trend line on here. Okay, let's see. We'll use this here. And I'll say this is our weekly. This is our weekly trend. It kind of let us know that we're in a bearish market. Let's make that red though. Alright, so from there we can see that, you know, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, and possibly up to this side here. Let's look at the daily, kind of see what we're looking at. Okay, some of the same things that we saw on GU, you guys. So if we can look here, we have a bearish, bullish, bearish order block here, that creates our level of supply. We can see price drop down and it came up, and now it's staircasing as it has a higher high, higher low, higher high, and we can actually look at some sort of flag pattern right here, right along with this our weekly trend from a daily perspective. So let's drop it down and kind of look at this. So as we can see, this thing is staircasing up, but let's kind of look and see what other confluences that we have, because it's possibly coming down to create another higher low. So a couple of things that I see right off the bat with looking at this, we have an imbalance right here on the 4 hour. Let's go ahead and notate that. Let's drop it down to the 3 hour just to kind of look at what other confluences we have. Let's go to the 2 hour. As you can see on the 2 hour, we have a bearish, bullish, bearish demand zone here. This order block created this demand zone that pushed price up. And I like this particular move, and this one is more significant for me because it actually broke the last short-term high that we had here. So this here was our last high that it actually broke, the short-term high here. Let's see. Center. So this imbalance, I'm sorry, this order block or this level of demand, it broke this last short-term high here, which gave us all of this impulse that created the inefficiency as well. So let's drop it down to the 1 hour and kind of see what we have as well. So from here, we can refine our demand zone a bit to this 1 hour right here. And we also have another imbalance here that I want to notate, that we can see price has given us an imbalance here. Let's drop down to the 30-minute, and we can see some of the same areas. However, I'm going to remove this imbalance here, and I like this one here because it's on multiple time frames, and this is correlating with the hourly as well as the 30-minute. Let's look at the 15-minute as well, and this is right along with the 15-minute as well. Even though we have a candle down here on the 15-minute, that candle right there kind of correlates with my level of demand. So I can actually move this over, because what I do from each time frame that I kind of scale down on, one of the things I like to do is refine my demand zones to those order blocks, because on a smaller time frame, sometimes those order blocks, they're more prevalent than the big ones. Because on those bigger order blocks, the demand zone or supply zone can be so huge that it's not a good area to actually look within. So the smaller the time frame, the more smaller the order blocks are, and price will actually get to those smaller intimate order blocks. Let's drop to the 5-minute and kind of look and see what we have as well. So some of the same confluences. So with this, I want to drop my order block all the way down here, and possibly my imbalance would be down here as well now. And this here is what you want to call order block correlation. You want to kind of correlate with the different order blocks on different time zones and things like that. Let's drop to the 3-minute and see what we have as well. See, we're definitely in confluence with our other time frames. And last but not least, let's drop to the 1-minute just to see what we have. Come on. Okay. Yeah, so I like this area here. Let's go back to the 15-minute. That way we can kind of notate what we're looking at. I do, because this 15-minute is so big, I do want to possibly do a demand zone within a demand zone. So this one, I'll actually make this one clear. That way I can notate that this right here is a 15-minute demand zone. my other one, my other demand zone is a 5 minute. Yeah, I'll move this one over and I'll notate this one as a 5 minute. Just so I can know and be mindful when price get down to that area. So I'm gonna set an alert right in this area here. You know what, before we actually do that, let's actually look at our Fibonacci tool just to see what price is right now. So because price is in an up structure, we're gonna take our Fibonacci tool from the bottom to the top, and we can see that this 15 minute is actually in confluence with our 78.6, which is actually pretty good, pretty cool for that area. So for me, I'm gonna set an alert right here. EU approaching POI 78.6 on Fibs. And that alerts you guys. If you guys wanted to put an alert for that as well, this alert is right at 1.10131 for EU. And so for that, I want to kind of wait for price to get down there. Let's just see if we did use our long tool for this. Let's kind of look and see what we're looking at. So if we did it from the 15 minute, we're probably looking at about 27 to 30 pip stop loss. But if we did it from the 5 minute, let's look at that. If we did our entry from the imbalance or the 5 minute, we're looking anywhere between 15 to 17 pips. So for this, I want to kind of be patient just to see what price does. When price come down, kind of wick this area, what I want to see from a 1 minute or a 5 minute perspective, I want to see a break of structure that'll let me know that price wants to turn around and go to the upside. But it's all in confluence down here, because if you look at this, you have demand zones, and you also have this trend, this possible trend here. This trend is not validated yet because there's only 2 points on this trend. To validate a trend, you need 3 points. So we'll see what it's gonna do. We'll see if it wants to break through and go to the downside, or if it wanna bounce off of this and possibly go up. Because one of the things that I noticed is you have an X here. X usually marks the spot. It might come down here, hit this area here, and then go up to the upside. So we'll be patient and see. But we got our alert here, kind of waiting to see what we're gonna do. Okay. All right, you guys. Let's look at USD CAD. With this pair, I can see that we are possibly ranging a bit. Well, it was ranging a bit. And so with that, let's see. Yeah, we got equal highs in this area here. So if we're looking at that from that perspective, let's drop down to the daily, because we possibly might be looking at Wyckoff on this particular trade or this particular pair right now. And Wyckoff is an advanced strategy that we use dealing with smart money concepts. So as we're coming up, we can actually see, let's see, this can possibly be the buying climax, and this can be our AR. So if we're looking at that, we can look at this area here and this area here as our Wyckoff trading range. This will be our resistance lines. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see it. This here will be our support lines. So whenever you start seeing equal highs and equal lows, you can start looking in these particular schematics as Wyckoff. And I have a couple of videos on that, you guys, talking about Wyckoff as well. So we're gonna mark this up really quickly. This is our BC, which is our buying climax. This is an automatic rally here. This here gave us an up thrust, which actually impulsed farther than our buying climax, which is a UT. We have a secondary test here. We have a sow, which is considered as a sign of weakness. here, this point is actually higher than our up thrust. So this here will be considered as a U-tag. And so this particular schematic is a distribution, you guys, or it possibly can be a reaccumulation. So whenever you have a distribution, price will go up, it'll build on top, and then supply exceeds demand, and basically what it'll do, it'll drop off. And so if this is a reaccumulation, price will build and come up, but instead of dropping off, it'll actually go to the top side. So we just gotta wait and see, because right now it's kind of close down into our support lines. If it breaks this area and retest, I'll possibly be looking for sales on USD CAD, but I don't know. So we have to kind of compare this to the DXY and kind of look and see where we are. We got a UTAD. I'm not sure if this is a, we gotta see if this is a UTAD, because if it is, this area here will possibly be a test. And then from there, we possibly would have had an LPS, but I can see, which is our last point of supply, but I can see prices is starting to come back up, and it's broken our resistance line. So I want to kind of be patient and kind of see what we're looking at. But in the meantime, let's actually compare this. Let's see, where is it at? Let's go to our DXY right quick. Let's do a comparison. We go back to USD CAD. Let's do a comparison to our DXY. Interesting. Okay, it's moving in confluence with it, so a little weird though. It's actually moving opposite, which is weird because USD is in the numerator, so yeah. Actually remove this. Okay, so we'll be patient with this one, with USD CAD. Kind of wait and see what it's going to give us. Let's drop down to the 4 hour just to kind of see what price action is giving us right now. So as you can see, this thing here is giving us some sort of inverted head and shoulder. So price possibly might shoot to the upside, because we can see that Euro and GBP were bearish. So if you look at here, we have an inverted head and shoulders, which is a pattern such as this. And when you have an inverted head and shoulders, price tends to push up. So if that's the case, let's look at this. We're staircasing on the 4 hour. Let's drop down to the 1 hour right quick. Low, higher, lower high, lower low. We got a break of structure in this area here. So this actually might be shooting up, you guys. We have a 1 hour break of structure. Let's remove all of this stuff here. And we can see, there's still in bearish momentum, because we can see that it broke this last area here. So we're still in bearish momentum. Let's see, high, low, low. Okay, so I won't be looking for buys until it actually breaks this area here. And so for me, I'm probably gonna wait on USD CAD, because it's not really giving me clean structure like I would like to see. So I'll just set a USD CAD BOS 1 hour. Okay, that's what we'll do for USD CAD. The market structure is not that clean to me, and so I don't really want to mess with it right now. Because I don't really know exactly what it wants to do. So I'm gonna be a little patient on this one. All right, so we got 2 more pairs, you guys, before we start getting to other pairs for you guys in the chat. We got G-Chef and we got gold. So let's look at G-Chef. Let's go to the weekly. So if we look at G-Chef, we're in bearish market on G-Chef as well. We have our weekly trend here. And then right after we do gold, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and look at the NAS 100. All right, you guys, so as we can see, we've made a lower high on this last deal here because it broke this last lower low here. I'm sorry, we got a lower low that actually broke this last low. So let's drop to the daily and kind of see what we're looking at. All right. You see in this area, we got a level of supply in this area here. Let's just go ahead and take this top wick up in this area here. Our supply zone. Let's drop down to the 4 hour and see what we have. We can see that we're actually ranging right now. We're in a consolidation right now for G-Chef. But we can see we do have a couple areas of supply. This is the closest one to this area. So let's look at this. Let's break this down to the 3 hour. Let's look at the 1 hour. And this, you guys, it almost looks as though this could be an accumulation, a Wyckoff accumulation possibly. Let's drop down to the 30 minute and kind of see what we're looking at. Yeah, this market structure looks a little weird as well. Let's see. Low. Let's mark this up so we can actually visually see this. Okay. So this is our last lower low. This is our last lower high in this area here. So basically, I'm going to remove this area here. And before I do anything with this pair, I want to see this be broken on the 30 minute. This is our break of structure on the 30 minute. So I possibly want to look for price to go to the upside. So we'll say G-Chef 30 minute BOS. That's what we want to look at. So basically, that's our 30 minute break of structure right there that we want to look at, you guys. Okay. So we'll look at that for that area right there. Hey Steph, what's going on? So for G-Chef, that's what we'll be looking at right now because it's kind of ranging as price is moving sideways. We don't really know exactly what it wants to do. It's giving us unclean market structure, so let's just let the market come to us instead of forcing it. Let's let it come to us and kind of see what it's going to give us. All right, you guys. Last but not least, let's look at gold. So gold has been really good to me last week. So let's kind of look at this. We're going to break this thing down so we can actually see where gold is going to take us, you guys. So check this out. On a weekly time frame, let's just look at what price is doing currently right now. We can see price shot all the way up right around 2,070 bucks or so. Gave us a big exhaustion on the weekly. And then from there, we got this pattern here, which is an evening star. So one of the things I want you guys to notice that this candle here, this bearish engulfing candle that kind of engulfed this doji here, whenever you get a bearish engulfing, price, that's pretty much a break of structure on a smaller time frame. So what we want to do from there, we literally can use our Fibonacci tool to measure this candle to actually look at this price here, because we can see price has retested more than 50% on this particular candle. So let's take it from the top of this candle down to the wick. We can do this entire candle here. We can see price has retested right around the 78.6. And then from there, price wants to drop off because like I said, when you have a bearish engulfing, that's a break of structure on a lower time frame, okay? So now, when you're looking at Fibonacci, This green section here, these can be potential take profits. You have your negative 27 and you have your negative 68, your negative 61.8. But if we look at this, you guys, right around this first TP here, potential TP, we have an imbalance right in this area right here, perfectly aligned with our negative 27. So let's go ahead and remove our Fibonacci tool. So this here can be a potential TP that we'll be looking to actually target, because if you look at price action now, we have a bearish, bullish, bearish right now. So this is a continuation order block pattern. This will give us our level of supply to show us that price wants to push to the downside. We have an imbalance here, and we also have an imbalance here right around this 1815 area that we can mark up as well. Let's go ahead and mark this this imbalance here. Now, let's go ahead and drop down to the daily, kind of look at price action. As you guys can see on a daily time frame, what do we see, you guys? I don't know if you guys can see it, but if you check this out, we have a head and shoulders pattern. It's not the cleanest, but it still is. You have a shoulder, you got a head, you got a shoulder. So when you got a head and shoulders pattern, price is looking to push down. So that's another confluence for us right there. All right. We can see prices ranging from a daily perspective, but let's drop down to the 4 hour and see what else we have. Look at this. Now you can now you can see price action a little bit better. You have another head and shoulders here. And these areas just right there. All right. So let's remove those. I'm sorry, let's remove those right quick. And let's kind of look at what price action is doing right now. So one of the things I see, I can right off the bat almost see I can see Wyckoff pretty much kind of playing out within this particular how price is looking right now as well. And I also see another head and shoulders here. Shoulder, head, shoulder. So let's look at this. Let's go ahead and mark this thing up. We can see, we can take this wick here. And we can take this wick here. We can label this as our our resistance lines. Label this as our support lines. Okay. Now we can mark this up as a possible. So because I'm expecting price to shoot down, this is a possible redistribution. Redistribution builds on the bottom almost like an accumulation, and then it drops back off. Okay. So from here we got an SC, which is your selling climax. We have an automatic rally, this area here, which is our AR. We have an ST, which is our secondary test. We have an upthrust in this area here, which broke past our automatic rally, which is our UT. All right, now let's kind of look at these other areas here. This here can be considered as a secondary test in B, as they call it, ST at B. And now as you can see, it came up and tapped our resistance lines, and we're dropping off to the downside. Let's drop down to a smaller time frame. Let's kind of look at structure and what it was giving us. Now, if we see this, you guys, check this out. Initially, from this drop here, we can see we're in a down structure. Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Price came up, gave us a break of structure in this area here. This was on the 1 hour time frame. I'm sorry, the 30-minute time frame. We're on a 30-minute right now. We got a break of structure, okay? So when you get a break of structure, price has to retest. So as you can see, price is starting to retest. So as it's coming up, we got the high, high, low, all of this kind of thing. So now in this area here, we're starting to break structure to the downside now. Thirty minute BOS in this area. But if we pull out our Fibonacci tool, we can see what price is actually giving us right now. So price is somewhat 50% in this area for the downside. But let's look at something for a second. Let me go to the 4 hour and check something out. Let's see something, you guys. This here was a 4 hour break of structure. This is our last swing high. So I want to take a fib from this area here. Okay, so check this out. I wanted to make sure that I didn't look at this in a wrong direction or prematurely. So as we can see, we had a break of structure on the 4 hour, which lets us know that price wants to start going down. Price came up to this area, our 61.8, tested this area. Now it's starting to drop off. As you guys can see, we're starting to get a drop off now. So from that perspective, price came up, low. So let's notate this area here. There's another 4 hour break of structure. We're coming up. We got a break of structure. Now we coming back for the retest. Okay, that's right. So now we're going to the downside from here, which correlates with our head and shoulders pattern as well. So as you can see, now we're coming up. We've tested the 78.6, which is perfectly on our resistance lines. Now we're starting to shoot off because in this area, there was an inefficiency. There was an imbalance that was tested in this area as well. Let's drop down and kind of see. It didn't test it all the way. However, we did test the 78.6. So, like I said, I'm starting to look for sales now. And so I want to see price kind of staircase down. But if we looking at this and we see that we have this head and shoulders, one thing that we can wait for, you guys, we see we have this head and shoulders pattern here. This area right here can be considered as, let's see, when it breaks our support lines, this can be considered as our neckline for our head and shoulders pattern to break, for it to continue to go to the downside. So if we're looking at that, one of the things that I'll be looking for is going to the downside, and we have these imbalances from a higher perspective. If it breaks this area and give us a retest, we can possibly ride it down to this imbalance here, which is like 254 pips. It don't look like a big move, but on gold, that's a huge move. From this area, this support lines all the way down here, that's about 254 pips. Now, if you can catch an entry somewhere up in this area here, as you can see on these smaller time frames, you have staircases right here. This is market structure. Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. This thing is staircasing. So basically what you can do for these moves right here, you can use Fibonacci to catch entries. Check this out. Every time this thing came up to the 61.8 or the 78.6, you could have caught an entry here. Rode it down to your negative 27. Here's another entry here. Rode it down to your negative 27. So you can literally staircase this thing, you guys, and just ride these things on down. So as you can see, price is coming up now. So let's just see where it's coming up. If we did a Fibonacci here, we can wait for it to come up, possibly hit this level of supply here, this order block, Or we can drop down to a smaller time frame, see if it's going to come up to the 78.6 area, which we see we have another order block here that we can refine it to. We can wait for price to come up here, and we can ride it back down to this -27. We can just follow market structure, let it give us, let it give us exactly what it's going to do. So if we look at that, if price come up to this order block and tap this, and we were to catch an entry up here, we can ride that down possibly 130 pips. So we can literally, like I said, just follow market structure, use your Fibonacci tool to just literally staircase this thing and just constantly keep riding it down. And if you want to constantly scale in, if you want to hop out and take your profits at -27 and constantly wait for the retracements, you can do that. Or you can sit in this thing. Let's bring that back. Let's just say if you sat in this, let's just say if you caught an entry here. You caught an entry right here, stop loss above this area or this price action here. Granted that you're using proper risk management, and you roll this thing all the way down to that potential TP down here. Look at this, you guys. That's 586 pips, 87 pips. That's huge. That's a 1-to-9 risk reward. That's huge. You can literally sit in it, take partial profits as it starts to get down to different areas, and you can possibly ride this thing on down. So with this, let's actually, as we can see that price is starting to come back, let's actually set an alert for this area here and see if price gets up to this area. If it gets up to this area, that'll let me know to start looking at it. Gold approaching order block 78.6. If it gets up to that area, then for me, that's enough confluence for me to kind of look at this thing and say, okay, let me see if I'm gonna catch me a nice entry and possibly ride it down to the downside. Okay. That's pretty much what I have on gold. First thing we're gonna do, I see that we have a couple of pairs in the chat. We got Nas 100 and we also have USD Chef, so we can check those out. Let's look at the Nas 100 right quick. I chose the wrong one. Nas 100. There we go. All right. So let's look at this from a weekly perspective and kind of see exactly the story in which this market is telling us. So as we can see that we were bullish for quite some time from a weekly perspective, and we can see right here we got a break of structure on the weekly. Let's just see, middle, we'll say weekly BOS. I'll put this on the bottom. Okay, this is a weekly break of structure. So we know when we have a break of structure, we have to retest. Okay. Put our Fibonacci tool on. So we see that we're more than 50% in where we want to be. But let's look and see what we have though. This area here, we have a demand zone, a supply zone right in this area here. But we also have a supply zone here that we do not want to negate as well. And we also have an inefficiency right up in this area as well. Okay, so that's something we can look at from that perspective. Let's drop it down to the daily, kind of look at market structure. So you can see we have these order blocks that price has broken through. Let's see, let's kind of look and see what price is doing. Okay, we're going high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. It gave us a break of structure in this area here. From a daily perspective, price possibly wants to come back to retest this area here. Okay, our Fibonacci tool Now let's look. So we can possibly catch some sales on this Nas 100. This is actually a pretty good setup. If you notice, we have an order block right here that created our level of demand for this Nas 100. And we also have, let's actually remove our Fibonacci tool. We have an imbalance in this area right here. As we can see, we have an imbalance in this area right here. So price can possibly come down. Let's notate where our 50% is for a second. Let's see something. We throw our fibs on here. 50% is right in this area right here. So we're looking for price to come down, more than 50% to get to this area. However, we see prices coming down, so we don't want to miss the opportunity to catch all of this action, because if you think about this, coming down to this area, that's huge. That's a lot of pips. So let's kind of look and see what price is right now. But this is an area in which I believe price is going to probably come down where it's trying to get to. So let's kind of see what we can actually catch to ride price down to that area. So as we can see, we're in down structure. Okay. So if we look at this, we have a high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So if we're in down structure right now, we can use our Fibonacci tool to possibly ride this thing down. If you look at this, check this out, you guys. We're right here in confluence. This is the 1 hour. Here is a bearish, bullish, bearish pattern right here. In this area right here. We can utilize this as our level of supply. Remove our fibs because we're already more than 50% in on this thing. Let's drop down to the 30-minute to kind of look and see where we're at. Hold on, before I do that, let's go back to our Fibonacci tool. Okay, our 786 is here, but we're at the 61.8. So I can see that it's bouncing off our 61.8, which is actually a pretty good area in which we want to be. Let's see something for a second. This is the 15-minute. So on this 15-minute time frame, we might be looking for price to come and hit this area here. We'll call this 15-minute supply zone. So we can see that price has already tapped this area. Price probably is going to come back up and hit this area again. Let's break it down to the 5-minute to see what we have. So on the 5-minute, breaker structure is coming back. 3-minute. Up structure, broke structure came to the upside, so we have a smaller order block right here, which is what it actually bounced off of. Let's drop to the 1-minute and see. So one of the things that we can wait for you guys to see is we have this order block on the 1-minute right here. We have a 1-minute order block right here. And I want to see if price is going to come up and tap this. If it taps this area here, lower high, lower low, lower high. Okay, staircasing up. I want to see it tap this area here. And let's kind of see what price action will give us. If it'll give us a bearish engulfing or something like that. High, low. Yeah, if it'll give us that. But before we take this to the downside, we can do a couple of things that we can do. We can wait for price to break this area here, and this can be our 1 minute breakup structure, which lets us know that prices actually want to start shooting to the downside. Or we can wait for price to hit this order block on the 1 minute and kind of look and see what kind of price action it'll give us. If it give us a bearish engulfing, some sort of reversal Japanese candlestick pattern, and see what it's going to give us. But we can set an alert right here. 1 minute BOS NAS 100. And this is right at, let me see where this is right at 14831.0. You guys want to notate that. So let's kind of look at this thing from an overall perspective, though. We can see, I mean, because this is some prime real estate right here. Because if we catch an entry up here, you guys, and we literally can sit in this thing. Now you got to make sure that you have enough money in your account if you're taking NAS 100. But let's just look at this. Even if you took it down to this imbalance here, if you wanted to be conservative to take it down to this area, that's 725 pips. That's huge. That's huge. But if we did it from a big picture, from a macro perspective, and we decided to ride this thing down, I mean, we could just ride it to this price action here if we wanted to. That's about 1,000 pips or whatever you want to look at. But like I said, for my bias, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I think this thing is gonna shoot. I think it wants to come down to this area here. Now, of course, your psychology has to be in check to actually do something like that. But that's Pip City right there, for real. Because we can already see this thing is starting to turn around. And so, however you look at this thing, it can be mad pips. I mean, you can be patient and kind of wait for, hold on, let me go to the 1 hour for a second. Yeah, for me, that's my bias right there. Yeah, this thing is already retesting on this. It's already in down structure here. And so for me, this thing come up to this 1 minute like we were talking about and tap that area right there. Kind of look and see what it'll give you, and you can ride this thing down. Or you can wait for a breakup structure in this area and then possibly ride it down from there. The P-Low, I hope that helps as far as NAS 100. All right, let's go ahead and look at USD Chef, you guys. All right, Steph, let's check this one out for you, man. Okay. All right, as we can see with this, we can see that let's look at the big picture on this thing. Let's see. Initially, structure, and I know this is kind of far, but I'm just trying to get the entire picture to see where price possibly is trying to go. This was our weekly breakup structure on this area here. Okay, then from there we got a retest on this area here. This came down and hit this level of demand from this bullish, bearish, bullish pattern. From there, price started to staircase up. Let's drop down to the daily. Let's see what we have. Area here. So from a daily perspective, I just want to make sure I don't miss anything, you guys. Let's see, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. This was a breakup structure on the daily. From this point. Oh, come on, man. This is a daily breaker structure. What's going on? Okay. As we can see from this daily breaker structure, price has to retest. So we take our Fibonacci tool. Price came back right in this imbalance. It didn't close all the way, but we can see that we had an imbalance in this area here. Imbalance in this area here that it closed, or possibly just came back to this area. And then from there, because we were going to the upside, price decided to go up. So now from this, we have low, higher high. Okay, prices, it's in a huge, almost kind of consolidation type situation. So let's look at this thing, but it's still making up structure. Let me see. I'm gonna take it from here. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna look at that. So it's still an up structure. As you can see, these points are actually breaking. They're small, but it's still an up structure. Higher low, higher high, higher low. Yeah, we're still in up structure. So with that being said, since we know that, what we can do, this will be our break of structure if we decided to, if the market decided to turn around. This will be our daily break of structure. And we're gonna break it down to actually look and see what moves we can catch right now, Steph. So this will be our daily breaker structure if we're looking to change our bias or whatever, okay? But from this, let's throw our Fibonacci tool on in the direction in which price is actually going right now. What's going on? Okay. So we can see price has come down to this area here. Let's go down to the 4 hour and look and see what we have. So you can see that we have a small imbalance in this area here that price closed right here. It's small, but price actually came down to close that imbalance. We've already exceeded our 78.6 on our Fibonacci. So let's look at this. We can actually notate this move here and say this was the order block that it actually hit to push it up. So we'll look at it from that perspective, okay? So now, 4 hour, let's drop to the 1 hour. So now from a 1 hour perspective, we can see we're staircasing down. Let's see. Okay, so from an hourly perspective, we have a break of structure right here. We can remove this. And from this break of structure, we see prices starting to pull back a little bit. Okay, prices starting to pull back a little bit. So from that perspective, we want to see price come within this area here, more than 50%. We have an order block right here that creates our level of demand. This is our hourly demand zone. You had a buy limit set at 0.9165. Let me check that out and see where that was. He said 0.9165. 9165. Hold on 4 seconds. Move this down. You said 0.9165. What am I doing, man? Okay. Yeah, this ain't going right out at all. 6.5 here. So you had a buy limit here. Let's check this out. I don't know if it'll get all the way down there. 9165. Yeah, I don't know if it'll get all the way down there because it's a little far away from where price is right now. Because if you look at it, I mean, it's still possible, but it's about 100 pips away to get down to that area. And like I said, it's possible that it can get down there. But just from what I see currently right now, I can see that, you know, from this perspective, we had a break of structure on this 1 hour, and price is possibly coming back to hit these areas in here. So from here, yeah, we can possibly look at these two demand areas here. But another thing I see though, you guys, I see that price is respecting this continuation order block. Look, it respected it here and it respected it a second time here. So this is something to notate, that we have a continuation demand zone right here. Let me change the color of this to possibly like a light, like a purple or something like that. Let's just say right there. This is a 1 hour as well. So one of the things I want to see if price will come down to this area and bounce off of this. If it comes down and bounce off of this area, what we want to do, we want to drop to the 15-minute possibly and wait for a break of structure to go to the upside. Because once we get that break of structure to go to the upside, that's going to let us know, okay, price is thinking about turning around. Okay. So I will kind of wait for this to kind of see exactly what price is going to do. We can set some alerts. You can and Steph, you can possibly set an alert at 0. I would probably say 0.92440. I'll put that in the chat as well. Set an alert. Let's see. USD chef. Set an alert at 0.92440. That way it can know, you can understand, or you can know when price is kind of getting close to those areas or within your 50% area. So if I come here, yeah, so that's actually right before it starts getting more than 50%. So we want to see it gets more than 50%. That way you're kind of in your premium pricing area. That way you can get a better entry and possibly take it on to the upside. Let me see. XAU EUR. Okay. All right, I'll check that one out. All right, cool. So Steph, dude, I hope that helps. As far as USD chef, that's pretty much what I have for that one. All right, let's check out XAU EUR. Gold versus the euro. Wow, never traded this one. Let's check this joint out. All right, hey, this one pretty much almost looking like the same one as far as gold versus USD. As you can see, same sort of pattern. We got an exhaustion, we got a bearish engulfing. This thing came back to retest more than 50%, which was right around that 61.8. And then we can see that this thing is dropping off. It already gave us a bearish, bullish, bearish. So this is our level of supply right here that it's actually giving us. Right here. We can look at this as our level of supply. But as we can see, so my bias for this is still looking bearish as well, because we got an imbalance right here. And then we also have a level of demand that price possibly wants to come down to right here in this area. Let's see, this is demand zone. So we can look at this. This can be our trading range, you guys, with this pair. I might start looking at this pair. I ain't never really looked at this pair. So this is our trading range right here. We can look for price right up in this area. Let's drop to the daily and kind of look at this thing. And we got another imbalance right here. I'm gonna actually pull this demand area up. That way it kind of covers this imbalance. All right, let's see, that's the daily. Let's drop it to the 4 hour. Let's see what we got. Lower low. Okay, so we're in down structure, so we can take our Fibonacci tool right up from this top swing high down to this top swing low, and we see right now that price has wicked off of our 61.8. This is our golden zone right here that is wicked off of. It came up right around this imbalance area, so we're more than 50%, so we can actually remove our Fibonacci tool. So we're right in prime real estate actually. We can see that it came up, tapped this imbalance area right up in here. But let's break it down to other time frames to see what else we had in this area. I do see another order block right here. This as another supply area here. 2 hour, 1 hour. Okay, right in that area there. 30 minute. Drop down to the 15. So one of the things I would probably wait for, because, hold on for a second, let's see something. Okay, staircase down. Okay, we had a breaker structure. Wait a minute. Make sure I'm looking at this right. So we came back up. Tap this area here, so we know we're going back in down structure. So okay, here's what we're looking at. All right, cool. So if you look at this, when we were coming up, this is all from the retest. Okay, so from this retest, you guys, we got higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. We got a breaker structure right here. 15-minute BOS. We can remove this. And then we can kind of look at this to say, all right, we need to retest from here on down to this area here. And we can see that we have not done that yet because it's still showing in down structure, which is fine. However, we need that retest. But you know what? No, I take that back. We did get a retest right here. We got our retest right here. So we're in that, we're currently in that down momentum because this was our retest. It came up and it retested right here. It broke structure and then it tested. Let's see. If we do this right here, when it broke structure and just do it right here to this swing here, it tested more than 50%. And it literally came up and it tested this order block right here. This level of supply. It came and hit that area right there. So now we're in down structure. So what we can do, because we missed this move right here, what we can do is we can just kind of staircase this thing like we were on gold initially. And we can say, okay, for this sequence to be done, we want to see it get down to this area here. So let's drop down to the 5 minute and kind of see if we can maybe catch another entry or something. If price decides to come up in this area right here, it can possibly tap this 61.8 and shoot down. But what I will probably do though, because it's kind of in the middle of no man's land, I will possibly wait until it completes its Fibonacci sequence and it gets down to this TP or something. Because once it gets down here, it's probably going to retrace to go back up. Okay, because the way the Fibonacci sequence is 4 phases. You have A. Hold on, let me see where we're down structure. You got A, which is your first point. You got A. You have B. And then you have C, which is your retracement. And D is your take profit. So you gotta wait, I would say wait until it finished those 4 phases. So D would be D would be possibly in this area here, either this -27 or this 61.8. So D will probably be in this area right here. So I would, like I said, I will wait until the sequence is done, and then from there we can kind of reevaluate to look and see when price is going to pull back, because it's possibly going to be another, fib that we can look at. So once that completes, we'll probably be looking at a fib from this area here. From this area here, possibly down to this D area. Price come down, retrace, and it'll probably ride it back down here. Okay, so I hope that helps. So that's what we possibly be that's what we're looking at with this gold euro. Like I said, I never traded this pair, but I actually might start looking at it because I like the moves. It actually looks exactly like the other one. Let me actually look at the pip count on this just to see if it's kind of the same or whatever. Okay, yeah. But yeah, I hope that helps. We already exceeded time. But hey, you guys, I want to thank you guys for rocking with us today. It's always greatly appreciated when you guys come on. I hope you guys learned something. I hope it was informative. Let me see. I have my entry at 1744.36. 1744.36. 1744.36. Okay, you looking forward to, okay, I see what you got. You looking forward to come back up there in your TP at 1754. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. But hey, you guys, like I said, I hope you guys, I hope this was informative for you guys. I want to thank y'all for rocking with us today. If y'all got any pairs throughout the week that y'all want to see marked up that we didn't get to on here, y'all welcome to put them in our chat on Facebook. You can go to Facebook and on that last post that we had, or on Instagram, go and post and say, hey, can you mark up this pair? And I'll be happy to do it and post it for you guys. And as always, man, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with us, and I'll see y'all on the next one.